The tortoise size and shell shape varies depending on where they live. The shell is made of bone and is a dull brown color. Their ribs, backbone, and breastbone have become part of the shell, which is why you can never separate the tortoise from its shell. In this course, we will explore how such things as department stores, nationally advertised brand names, goods, mass produced cars, and suburbs transform the American economy, society, and politics. The course is organized both thematically and chronologically. Each period deals with a new development in the history of consumer culture. Experts discuss the significance of attending the theatre as a civic occasion associated with the political and cultural achievement of Athens. Through archaeology and analysis of contemporary art forms such as decoration on pottery, a picture is built up of ancient Greece theatre. Members of a culture must conform to its norms for the culture to exist and function. Hence, members must want to conform and obey rules. They first must internalize the social norms and values that dictate what is normal for the culture. Then they must socialize or teach norms and values to their children. Expression became important during the Romantic movement, with artwork expressing a definite feeling, as in the sublime or dramatic. Audience response was important, for the artwork was intended to evoke an emotional response. This definition holds true today as artists look to connect with and evoke responses from their viewers. We seek to improve learners' experience of education at college and help them to aspire, achieve, and progress. We must embed equality and diversity in everything we do, both as a provider and an employer. We hope to prepare our students for work, higher education, and citizenship by equipping our staff with the skills to meet this agenda. The natural environment can be hazardous, and with increased travel and leisure, people today are more likely than ever to be exposed to potentially life threatening conditions. Although the human body can adjust to some extent, it cannot cope with poisons or prolonged exposure to extremes of environment. In the late 16th and 17th centuries, many English, French, and Dutch immigrants went to North America in search of gold and silver, but they did not find it. Instead, settlers were forced to support themselves by cultivating crops that they could sell in Europe, like tobacco, indigo, and rice. Yellowstone was initially made famous due to its unique geology caused by its location on the North American plate, which for millions of years has slowly moved across a mantle hotspot via plate tectonics. The Yellowstone caldera is a volcanic system, the largest in North America, which has formed as a result of this hot spot and subsequent large volcanic eruptions. Because Mandarin is the most commonly spoken dialect, many people use the word Chinese to refer to it. While roughly 70% of the country speaks Mandarin, many other dialects are spoken as well. The languages are mutually intelligible to a varying degree, depending on how close the languages are to one another. People who want to become astronauts must be in top physical condition. Each country's space program has health requirements for its space travelers. They usually assess a candidate's fitness to withstand some pretty tough conditions. For example, a good candidate must have the ability to endure the rigors of liftoff and to function in weightlessness. As far as we know, nothing can move faster than light. According to Einstein's theories on relativity, it takes an infinite amount of energy to accelerate an object with mass up to the speed of light. As a result, it would appear that having a spacecraft traveling at or exceeding the speed of light is simply impossible. Concentration is an expression of how much solute is dissolved in a solvent in a chemical solution. There are multiple units of concentration. Which unit you use depends on how you intend to use the chemical solution. The most common units are mass percent, volume percent, and mole fraction. An archaic name is an older name for a chemical that predates the modern naming conventions. It's helpful to know archaic names of chemicals because older texts may refer to chemicals by these names. Some chemicals are sold under archaic names or may be found in storage labeled with older names. In statistics, a predetermined number of observations can be extracted from a larger population. This is called sampling. There are many sampling techniques adopted by researchers and statisticians, and the type of sampling depends upon the analysis to be performed. When it seems time consuming to obtain data from every member of the population, then sampling techniques are employed. Parents and kids alike love sports, and it's easy to get caught up in a game and become focused on winning. Yet there is much more to be gained from the sports experience than a winning record. When children and teens are involved in sports, they are able to learn and put into practice values that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. Modern technology changed a lot from what we saw in the last decade or the past century. New machines and gadgets are invented to make jobs easier like never before. From the little tailor machine to the fastest car in the world, all got automated, reducing the manual actions required to the least. The spiral of silence is a mass communication theory introduced by Elizabeth to describe the process of public opinion formation. He defines the spiral of silence as the process an individual experiences when he may find the views he holds are losing ground. The more this appears to be, the less he will be inclined to express his opinion. The internet has grown in importance by many folds over the process of decade. Its importance in education world can now never be undermined. Despite the chances of fraud and drawbacks, the use of the internet is like a blessing for students. Today, the internet is something that is present in almost everything we use. Public opinion stabilizes and integrates society because conflicts will be resolved through spirals of silence in favor of one opinion. Wherever people live together in societies, public opinion will function as a mechanism of social control. However, what specifically public opinion approves or rejects will change with time and differ from place to place. Today, most American citizens over the age of 18 are entitled to vote in federal and state elections. But voting was not always a right for all Americans. Because the Constitution did not specifically say who could vote, this question was largely left to the states in the 1800s. While no longer explicitly excluded, voter suppression is a problem in many parts of the country. Throughout history, Stanford Medicine has been home to cutting edge medical advances, including the first successful adult human heart transplant in the United States and the first combined heart lung transplant in the world. Stanford School of Medicine is the West Coast's oldest medical school and worldwide leader in patient care, education, and innovation. Sportsmanship comes in many forms and helps make competitive games fun and enjoyable. It fosters good habits and positive life skills both in and out of sports games and is an important life skill for people of all ages. It is also key to becoming a mature, respectful, and successful adult. Contemporary scholars who study scientific methodology are often frustrated by the implication that science is logically falsifiable. The problem is that scientists can always make excuses to avoid falsifying a claim. The discovery of Neptune is such a case. Astronomers had noticed irregularities in the orbit of Uranus. One possibility was that these irregularities violated the theory currently used to explain planetary motion and that this theory should be rejected. With our current situation and the state of the global economy, there is a much lower chance of landing a new job anytime soon. And it's unclear when social distancing measures will end or what shape the economy will be in when you are able to return to work. Like other cognitive biases, implicit bias is a result of the brain's tendency to try to simplify the world. Because the brain is constantly inundated with more information than it could conceivably process, mental shortcuts make it faster and easier for the brain to sort through all of this data. It is important to note that even good stress can lead to spikes in blood sugar levels. Mental and physical stress, such as worrying about your job or getting sick, can create negative stress. But even positive or exciting events like riding on a roller coaster or winning an award can create stress on your mind and body. Psychology is both an applied and academic field that benefits both individuals and society as a whole. A large part of psychology is devoted to the diagnosis and treatment of mental health issues, but that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the impact of psychology. For a lunar eclipse to occur, the Sun, Earth, and Moon must be roughly aligned in a line. Otherwise, the Earth cannot cast a shadow on the Moon's surface and an eclipse cannot take place. When the three bodies are aligned in a way that the Moon is partly covered by the Earth's umbra, a partial lunar eclipse is the result. As of Friday, Musk and Twitter had given no public notice of the coming layoffs, according to a spokesperson for California's Employment Development Department. That's even though the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Statute requires employers with at least 100 workers to disclose layoffs involving 500 or more employees, regardless of whether a company is publicly traded or privately held. If you walk into your kitchen, almost everything has encountered plastic in one way or another. The plastic bags you stuff into a drawer, your favorite cup, and even the packaging keeping those blueberries fresh. Despite plastic's ubiquity, we often forget where it comes from. Indeed, when it comes to plastic, our efforts seem much more focused on what happens after rather than before we use it. The blame for overconsumption should not and cannot be placed solely on individuals. Companies and corporations have a vested interest in making you buy more stuff because if they don't, they go bankrupt. This is why they slap green labels onto their products and advertise everywhere. Indeed, the whole idea of a personal carbon footprint is a propaganda campaign created by a fossil fuel giant. For as long as society has existed, we have understood the role of surrounding influences on our decision making. With idioms like it takes a village to raise a child and you are the product of your environment, we understand that to a great extent our upbringing, our parents, and the society we grew up in influence our decision making process. Lions and lionesses play different roles in the life of the pride. The lionesses work together to hunt and help rear the cubs. This allows them to get the most from their hard work, keeping them healthier and safer. Being smaller and lighter than males, lionesses are more agile and faster. But like other low impact exercises, yoga reliably improves fitness and flexibility in healthy populations. The practice has also shown to be a potentially powerful therapeutic tool. In studies involving patients with a variety of skeletal disorders, yoga was more helpful at reducing pain and improving mobility than other forms of low impact exercise. Someone who looks extremely active, whose diary is filled from morning till night, who is always running to answer messages and meet clients may appear the opposite of lazy. But secretly, there may be a lot of avoidance going on beneath the outward frenzy. Busy people can evade a different order of undertaking. The term core competence described a diversified corporation as a large tree. The core products are the trunk and major limbs, the business units are smaller branches, and the end products are the leaves. The core competence is the root system that provides nourishment and stability. It's essentially what your organization knows about coordinating production and technology. For noble and very understandable reasons, we have come to associate maturity and kindness with the capacity not to give up on people. But this broad and generous truth can be in danger of missing out on an important caveat that health and maturity may also require a subtle capacity to give up on one or two people. The idea behind recycling is simple. By breaking old products down and converting them into something usable again, we conserve natural resources. Sadly, it's not that simple. Recycling is deeply entwined with our economic system and right now doesn't make much economic sense. It often costs more to recycle than it does to just throw things away, which is bad news for the environment. Since its founding, America has enjoyed population growth famously fueled by high immigration rates, but Americans have historically had large families compared to other countries as well. Birth rates today have fallen to their lowest point in history. While birth rates have historically been connected to economic cycles, the present decline is happening during good economic times.